If you think that anxiety is just in your head, then you'll keep battling it at that level, trying to reason your way out of it, and it'll just keep looping because anxiety is a body state. It's your nervous system trying to protect you from deeper, painful feelings by worrying and catastrophizing. In this video, I'm going to give you 7 signs of anxiety and a sort of a 5-step process to get relief that actually works, because a lot of anxiety advice is about soothing and calming down, but that never really works. You've actually got to help this anxiety to move up and through, but we'll get to that. Let's jump into these 7 signs, but first, just a brief word on what it is. Anxiety is like a fight or flight activation. Your nervous system is mobilizing. But what's unique about anxiety is it comes with this sort of continuous threat prediction. So it's continuously looking and scanning for threats and trying to manage them. It's because deep down there's something that doesn't feel safe, that feels painful. It could be anger or fear, shame, sadness. And then rather than feel that, it's like, no, I'm gonna get activated and I'm gonna scan for threats out there, and we're gonna solve the problem out here and not in here. Let's get to those 7 signs before talking about how you can work with it. The first is that there's an urgency, this restlessness. That's that kind of the fight-flight activation, but it's also this sense of having to manage and control everything. Anxiety says, if I don't manage this, I'm not going to be okay, right? This is way too long. You don't have to explain everything. And if you think that anxiety is just in your head, then you're going to try and reason and battle with it at that level, and it just keeps looping. It doesn't work because anxiety is a body state. It's your nervous system activating to try to keep you safe by worrying and taking control. And in this video, I'm going to give you 7 signs of anxiety at the level of the body, and then a 5-step process to help you find your way out. What's unique about anxiety is it's when there's a painful emotion deep down. You might not be conscious of it. It could be anger or fear, but it feels unsafe to go there. So instead, fight or flight energy comes online to mobilize you alongside this kind of threat prediction, this continuous seeing threats everywhere, worrying about this or that, because it's like, if I can just manage that threat out there, what's on the inside will relax. Unfortunately, it doesn't work out like that. And we'll get to that at the end. Let's jump into the 7 signs. So the first is this urgency that you feel. There's this restlessness. Because anxiety is, what it says really is, if I don't manage this, I'm not going to be okay. And there's this real urgency to manage and control at every moment the different things that are happening. Which is its attempt ultimately to escape the unsafety in the body. The second sign is the continual worrying or catastrophizing. So again, your nervous system, it's not you doing any of this. You're not doing anything wrong. It's just your system trying to keep you safe. But it's seeing threats everywhere. And the threat prediction will latch onto whatever's going on. So if you get an email from your boss or your friend, send you a text, it'll see the threats within it, even if it's not really there. It's continue going, what if this? What if that? The third sign is the hypervigilance. You're continually scanning your environment, maybe scanning people's faces to see if they're okay. Checking your phone or your email continuously to see or the news to sort of, again, it's part of this threat prediction. I have to continuously check stuff so I can see the threats, so I can then manage them, and then I'll be okay. But without actually going towards the root of the issue, which is held deeper in the body. But like I said, we'll get to that. The fourth one is stress and overwhelm, because this fight or flight energy is really powerful, you may have noticed. And often even the fight or flight, the anxiety itself feels like we don't want to go there. We don't want to really, it feels uncomfortable. And so it's that activation that's what's overwhelming and what's driving the stress. It's the fact that we're kind of resisting the mobilization of the nervous system. Innocently, because it's very painful. But that's what's happening. The fifth sign is tightness in the body, particularly the chest, the throat, that you notice that is the body trying to defend against the anxiety and potentially what's underneath it as well, that sort of core emotion that feels unsafe. And the body, it's the most common defense method is to tighten the muscles to keep the energy at bay. And that's why you can feel super stressed and overwhelmed, but also really tight and stuck at the same time. Because it's this mobilization wanting to come up, but then the body wanting to hold it and manage it. The sixth sign is irritability. So you can have a very, a pretty short temper, or things can bother you very easily when we're anxious, because anxiety is commonly linked to repressed anger, actually. And I do have a video on that, of why anxiety is linked to repressed anger. If you just type in anxiety and anger in my channel, you'll find it. And it's because for many of us, anger feels really, really unsafe. And so when there's deep anger deep down, we can't go there. And instead, we need to manage the world with this continual worrying, so we don't run into situations where we might have to get angry. So it's like anxiety becomes a weird way of trying to set boundaries, which is what anger does for us, but without actually using anger. But go check out my other video for more details. 7 is controlling behaviors. So we find that we might really meticulously plan, or just like over planning simple things, perfectionism, constantly trying to get reassurance from people. There's this kind of very tense checking of everything that comes in. Again, that's just trying to manage these potential threats that we're seeing everywhere. So how do we work with this? Here are some somatic practices that will help, because like I said, a lot of advice is about how can I calm down, but that doesn't really do anything to help you manage the anxiety itself. When I say manage, I really mean process or integrate, and especially the feeling that's underneath that's really the issue. It's this lack of capacity, it's a sense of unsafety around whatever emotion is underneath. That's like the root that's driving. So if you relax the anxiety, the emotion, the unsafety of the emotion still remains. And so if that emotion gets triggered again, which it's inevitable, then the anxiety will come back. So you can relax for a day, but it'll just be the anxiety will just come back the next day. So our goal, our intention is to work with the anxiety to help it relax a fraction so we can access what's underneath. And this is what I'm going to take you through a few steps now. So the first step is just to connect to yourself. So if you're feeling anxious, maybe just place the hands on the heart and the belly, or wherever in your body feels good. That touch just helps you connect to the body and what you're feeling. And just starting to notice what sensations are here, noticing how this anxiety is showing up for you. Is it in the belly? Is it in the chest? Is it in the shoulders? Could be in several places. And just breathing into it. It's almost like the anxiety is a lung, and you want to let that expand and contract gently. Not to push it away, not to change it. That will just make it hang on even more tightly, just to be with it. And spend as long as you want here. Spend a few minutes just being with that anxiety. As you're doing that, you can bring in the second step, which is to notice or shift from I am anxious, this sort of very absolute take, to, oh, there's a part of me that's anxious. Notice it's just a part of you here that's anxious. That shift can help make it more manageable to be with. So just noticing how this part is showing up for you. The third step is to start to allow and track the fight or flight energy. Or it could be a bit of freeze as well sometimes, but that kind of that activation you feel in your nervous system. So start to track and just notice how it's showing up. If it feels more fighty, you can press into a wall or press your hands together. So just give your hands something to push against, and just for 10, 20 seconds, do a few rounds of pressing into the wall or pressing into your hands, letting that fight start to move through. You could feel into that edge of you in that anxiety. This is like, I don't want this, I don't like this. No, that's the fight. you're at work and you're anxious, you just want to you just want to punch your boss and throw your laptop out the window. That energy, harness it, let it move. Or maybe there's more of a flight energy, a bit more fear-based, in which case you could run on the spot, like actually let the fear run away. Or you could shake the hands like I'm doing here, sort of bouncing on the knees and shaking the hands out, touching into that sense of the fear, like I'm not going to be okay. No, I've got to get out of here. And just staying with your attention though in the body where you're feeling that flight. Third option is that it could be more of a freeze, like you feel this anxiety feels very stuck and frozen. In that case, allowing that, you can just gently squeeze into that freeze. So if it's frozen in the shoulders, just tensing that, letting it squeeze the muscles, and then gently sighing and melting. And you can do this a few times of just leaning into that rigidity of the freeze, letting it melt. If you do that for a few rounds, you should feel a little space opening up, and then you can just start to notice what's underneath. Like, what feeling am I trying to avoid here? What am I actually feeling? Am I angry? Am I sad? Am I afraid? And just noticing how the actual emotion is showing up. So not the fight or flight on the surface of the anxiety, which is drawing the attention, but what's a bit deeper or underneath. If there's space, you can just be with that and spend some time feeling the anger, feeling the shame, feeling the fear. You can place a hand on it and just being with it. And you can check out for more info on how to feel your feelings and feel these kind of feelings more deeply, I've got a video called How to Feel Your Feelings. And, maybe the anger wants to, let this express. Maybe the anger wants to clench the fists. It's really good to express the emotion. Maybe you could ask it what it wants to say. And just feel if that anger wants to say, like, no, I don't want to. Or the fear wants to say, like, I'm alone. Just letting it express and letting it be felt. Stay with that as long as you want. And then when it feels like something's shifted a little bit, or it just feels like you've reached your limit, just start to integrate. Just bring back hands to the heart and the belly. Maybe you can just sway a little bit. Just bringing a bit of warmth and movement to the body. So this whole process, this is now the integration, so you can just stay here. But the whole process is just checking in, settling in with the body, noticing that there's just a part of you that's anxious. Letting the fight, flight, freeze on top be experienced. And just noticing what's underneath and just being with that. And that's where things start to shift. That's how you change your anxiety. It's being with what's underneath, what that anxiety was protecting. And then you just take a moment to integrate. Hope that helps. I do help people with this, working with them one-on-one to process their anxiety, to feel better by feeling more deeply. So check out my work in the links below. See you later. Bye.